All right, welcome back. We're going to get reaction to tonight's debate with our State House Insiders, Trav Robertson, Dave Wilson.
Trav, you really want reaction, or do we just continue the debate?
I'd like to
that
say
means you're going to lose.
All right,
Thanks,
so
man.
Let's just pick one. Go first. Trav, what do you think?
I think if this were a sporting event, maybe baseball, the refs would have called a mercy rule and ended it after 7 innings.
But the problem is you had the umps tonight who were debating
typical
Trump.
Republican. When it goes bad for your candidate who's getting his ass kicked by the vice president, you automatically want to say, it was unfair.
But Trav, folks at home, this is what really happened. You go start taking a look at everybody's reaction to this, Trav. You take a look at the reaction on social media tonight, and they're going, David Muir.
You're looking at the wrong people. Right. Just because they held Donald Trump accountable for once, you're all of a sudden complaining. The fact is that this is a guy whose father gave him billions of dollars. Tonight we saw this. We saw him throwing spaghetti against the wall. We saw a confused, angry, ranting, delusional candidate who is being beaten by the vice president.
But we also had a vice president, when asked directly about policy issues, skirted it and never really answered the question about her own flip-flops on policy.
Well, I think the most alarming refusal to answer a question tonight was when Donald Trump refused to indict Vladimir Putin for invading Ukraine and not saying he would stand with the Ukrainians.
Again, we're just continuing from earlier, so yes.
The very first question tonight to the vice president was about the economy and if Americans thought they were better off 4 years ago, but Trav, she didn't give a clear answer on that, did she?
I thought she was brilliant tonight. Donald Trump took the bait in every time she spoke. The fact is this, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have made it very clear that they understand Americans do not yet feel like the economy is doing much better. But at the end of the day, statistic after statistics.
Every time I pull this, I bet you every time I pull this out of the gas tank, and you know this at home, every time you pull this out of the gas tank, you're beginning to realize very quickly that inflation has taken a hit.
I paid $2.58 for gas today, which is the lowest we've paid in a heck of a long time.
And how much did you pay for your groceries last week?
They have dealt with an economy that was in free fall because of Donald Trump, and they have saved this country.
I'm going to call foul on that one, and the reason I'll call foul on that one is this one, because you cannot turn around and talk about the growth of the economy when you don't take into account what dropped it, which was COVID.
And your president handled it poorly and cost a lot of lives.
David, let me mention this also about that same question. The former president had a chance tonight to really hammer home inflation, high gas prices, high mortgage rates. I didn't hear him say too much about that.
What about crowd size?
The problem with that is this, and this is, we debated this and we talked about this off the air. If Kamala Harris could get Donald Trump off message, it would start to diffuse his answers. And you saw that tonight. You saw this diffusing of answers. And so instead of staying on track, on point, we're going to hit these 3, 4, 5 major issues. He made it about Donald Trump, not about America. And that is where Kamala Harris does get a score on that one for being able to talk about America, not herself.
Whether we're talking policy or not, if you're talking about style and the ability to win, tonight she was successful in that. She took him off message when she talked about crowd size. He took the bait, and his entire performance went downhill.
He started off the debate a little calm, but then as some questions started coming in and some comments, he seemed to get a little agitated.
She baited him, as any good debater will do, and he took the bait and he fell for it and he lost his rails.
And it goes back to what was being said beforehand, though, the question, do you have open mics, do you not have open mics? And this is the interesting thing, because you listen to us tonight and you'll hear us sometimes talking over each other. But the thing about that is this, the inability for the moderators to keep things on track. The debaters were the ones who were running the debate tonight.
And there had been some discussion that the vice president, was looking for a moment to where she could turn to the former president and say, I'm speaking, you're interrupting me.
But he used it instead.
Actually, the former president used it on the vice
president. I thought she scored points tonight when she talked about the number of people she had convicted, and she used that very well against him.
Quickly, and we have about 30 seconds. Was the needle moved any at all tonight?
I think it solidified her position as someone who's a credible candidate to be president of the United States. There's no question. He looked deranged.
But the thing about it is, and we talked about this is what we were doing before we got on, is we were starting to take a look at the 7 major states that are up for grabs right now. The 7 swing states that are out there. You got Georgia, North Carolina, Nevada, Arizona, and then the 3 in the Rust Belt, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Those are the ones. The question is, did the voters there see something?
The independent and swing voters in those states.
We have to end the discussion right there. Dave, Trav, as always, guys, thank you so very much.
Thanks, JR.
We have much more on the debate right now on our website, WLTX.com.